A developing theme and transfer story in the opening stages of this transfer rumour mill is regarding Southampton, and Flynn Downes and Danny Ings have come into question once again as X and various other sources have reported that the Saints are interested in both Flynn Downes, of course, who has spent the season on loan at the newly promoted Southampton, and also former Saints man Danny Ings. There's an interest to bring the former Southampton player back to St Mary's for a second stint at the club. Now, it's fair to say I've had a surf through some Southampton fan pages and Southampton Twitter, and they of course are all for Flynn Downes returning and signing permanently for Southampton. They're not quite as complimentary in response to the potential of Danny Ings coming back to the club. They've probably seen and acknowledged that he hasn't been very good for West Ham over the last 2 years. He's scored very little goals. He's had very little impact. I don't know whether that's because he's been under sort of misutilised or misused under David Moyes, or whether he just hasn't been very good. That's the two options. I'm not sure which one is the correct one, probably until, if we ever do see Danny Ings play under a different manager. If he stays at West Ham, we'll see that with Julian Lopetegui in the summer or like going into next season. Of course, there's a couple of reports of maybe James Ward-Prowse could be factored into this deal as he goes back to the club that he spent so many years at. Of course, I don't know. Look, I'd happily let Danny Ings go down there. I think that's a good move for all parties, unless, that's a big unless, Julian Lopetegui views Danny Ings as a player that he can get the best out of, whether it's a player that he thinks he can work with to improve. There hasn't been a lot there to work with Danny Ings for the last couple of years. He had a brilliant game up at Sheffield, I thought, against Sheffield United back in January, where he played just off of Jarrod Bowen from memory and in a sort of like front two, and that worked, and he played well because he had an outlet next to him to provide him with the opportunities and get him into better positions. When he's up front on his own with nobody within 20 or 30 yards with him, there's just no point in having him there. His job is redundant. He's poor. So look, I'd let him go. I think it's a move for all parties, good for all parties, because he'd get more first team football down there than he would at West Ham, unless of course Julian Lopetegui views him as an asset going into next season. That's the main thing that I'm going to say about most players that are going to be linked with a move away with West Ham this summer. Look, maybe could let him go, but if Lopetegui sees a future and wants to see this specific player play for West Ham, then let's keep him there and let's see what Lopetegui can do. Let's see whether a different voice, a different philosophy can alter any of the performances of these players. Look, in terms of Flynn Downes, I'd try and keep him as much as possible. It's in our hands to an extent, of course. If Flynn Downes wants to go down there, if he wants to sign permanently, we can't really stop him. That's not particularly the best thing to do, is to prevent a player from moving if he wants to go. But the lad's a boyhood West Ham fan. In the promotion party they had at St Mary's yesterday, he literally shouted irons, which was mildly amusing. He loves West Ham, but he's also developed a soft spot for Southampton now with the loan spell he's had down there this season. He's become imperative to the way Southampton play. He's become imperative to Southampton doing well. If Flynn Downes is in the team, they pretty much do well. It seems like the Alvarez effect for West Ham. There's a stat that's gone around with percentage played with or without Flynn Downes, and it's not, it's bleak without Flynn Downes, and many Saints fans have said that without him they probably wouldn't have even made the playoffs. So that's how important he's been for Southampton this season, and obviously they want to do everything within their powers to bring him back to the South Coast this summer. I think he's an asset for us. I think he could be a really good player. He probably want first team football guaranteed, and now that's up to Lopetegui whether he can offer that to him or not. But look, it's going to be interesting. There's no clear-cut things outlined in terms of contracts yet for any sort of deal. Whether there'll be a joint deal or they'll stand alone separately in terms of Flynn Downes and Danny Ings, I don't know. But at this current moment in time, there seems to be a lot of rumours going around surrounding Southampton and West Ham. It's definitely a story to keep an eye on, and it's definitely not a story that's going to go away, because Southampton, as I said, are going to try everything to try and keep hold of Flynn Downes or sign Flynn Downes this summer because of how important he has been. Want to keep an eye on what's your thoughts? Put it into the comment section down below, and until the next one, thank you very much. Come on, you Irons, bye bye.